pro stock drivers have been shooting for the right to compete in this special event, the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. The scene is Bristol International Dragway in Tennessee. 1987 world champion Ricky Smith in the Motorcraft Ford. Billy Ewing in the Ewing & Ewing Camaro. Tim Neighbors in the Neighbors Automotive Camaro. And Jerry Haas, the chassis builder from St. Louis. Brett Kepner asked the drivers,
in a word, who's going to win this race?
I hope to. It's anybody's race.
Man who wins this Hurst Shootout, $15,000, he's going to earn it today.
That's the question. The answer next. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. We welcome you to Bristol International Dragway in Tennessee for the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Ted Jones, and something a little bit different for you today here on ESPN. IHRA drag racing, not a regular show, but instead the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. Ted, what's it all about?
The Hurst Pro Stock Shootout is the most prestigious drag race that there is in the world of drag racing for pro stockers. They've run all season long special qualifying sessions on every Saturday night of each IHRA national event. Points have been awarded by the Hurst Shifter Division of the Mr. Gasket Company to those top ETs turned in that Saturday night qualifying session. Now those top point gainers are invited to this special shootout right here at Bristol, Bob.
What to look for as far as a spectator today and a viewer? Well, watch the reaction time of the drivers. We'll have a special camera that will show the Christmas tree light counting down, and then the cars jump off the line. As far as favorites, Ted, who should we look for?
Really, there is no favorite because there's only about 1/10 of a second separating the first and 8th place qualifiers. I suppose if you had to pick one, you'd probably pick world champion Ricky Smith.
And Brett Kepner will be covering the pit area for us today. The Hurst Pro Stock Shootout is being brought to you by Hurst Shifters, a division of Mr. Gasket Company and the Performance People. And by Drag Review, all you need to know about drag racing. The Hurst Pro Stock Shootout is coming up, first quarterfinal elimination, and we'll be right back for it. Finals in the Pro Stock Shootout, sponsored by Hurst here at Bristol. Bob Olson, who qualified 4th in this event, will be going up against James Ruth, who was a semifinalist last year. Here's Brett.
Jim, 1 year ago, you found yourself in the final round of this race. I'm sure you're looking for the win rather than runner-up this year.
Well, we'd like to have a win down here. It's going to be some real close racing this weekend, Brett. Top 12 was within 800ths of a second, so it's going to be close racing.
It's going to be an amazing race, and you're one of the quickest and fastest out there. This car traditionally runs over 190 on every run.
Well, Harold Denton does a real good job keeping this car prepared. He's an excellent crew chief.
The comments from Jim Ruth. He's lined up on the right side of your screen. Bob Olson on the left. Here's the light.
Jim Ruth could crank out one of those 190-mile-an-hour runs. Look at him weave around a little bit. Here comes Olson.
Oh, Olson walks off with a victory with a 189.87 to 741. And here's a replay.
Taking a look at the reaction times, Jimmy Ruth actually left first on Olson, so this one's going to boil down to pure ET. Ruth breaking loose just a little bit there at mid-track. Now tries to straighten it out. It's horsepower time for the Stewart and Olson entry, and that was the story.
Olson moves on to the semis. Terry Adams coming up in a moment. Brett, talk with him.
Terry, this racetrack has always been good to you. After a runner-up here at the Spring Nationals, you seem to know this surface well.
Yes, I live about 2 hours down the road, and I have done tested here in the past, and it's kind of a hometown track for me. I feel good about the race.
Well, it's got to give you an advantage, especially since you have the Williford Farms Trans Am running down in the low 740s.
Yes, we made a practice run this morning, run a 7:42 at 192 mile an hour. In the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout, the 8 cars, all 8 cars, any man could win.
Terry Adams, his opponent is Gary Hayjack, who is in the right lane. Here we go. Adams in the near lane from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Close race. Oh, Adams got him at the line.
What an incredible upset. Terry Adams has done it, the North Wilkesboro ace. Look at the reaction time. Adams off first with a 0.4. He's moving down on Hayjack now, a 7.46. Brilliant time. Adams talked with Brett.
It was good racing all the way down, 7.46 to a losing 7.48. You were side by side.
It was a close race. I could see him all the way down the track.
Well, you're going into the semifinals, and this car has proven that it's got the power. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Jerry Haas will be a competitor in a quarterfinal round coming up here in just a moment. And not only is Jerry Haas one of the top drivers, he's also one of the top car builders. He's built several for the competitors here this weekend. Brett Kettner now about Ricky Smith.
The sole representative for the Ford Motor Company in the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout is the man who's already wrapped up the 1987 IHRA World Pro Stock Championship, Ricky Smith. Interestingly enough, however, Smith has chose this all-important Hurst Pro Stock Shootout to debut a brand-new, never-been-tried 1988 Ford Thunderbird. The machine, built by Jerry Bickle Race Cars, includes a chassis that's virtually identical to the one that already wrapped up the World Championship, but this one is much more aerodynamically engineered. In fact, it's one of the first sealed-tight Pro Stockers ever built. It's a complete vacuum-formed interior of this machine that allows the air to slip more cleaner over the body than any Pro Stocker before it.
And here's another international hot rod hit. The question is, what was the quickest elapsed time ever recorded in pro stock drag racing history? Was it 7:17, 6:99, or a 7:21? Back with the answer in just a moment. Hot rod hit. What was the quickest elapsed time ever recorded in pro stock drag racing history?
Ricky Smith set the quickest elapsed time in pro stock drag racing history with his historic 7.17 second pass at the All-Pro Winter Nationals in March of this year.
And here it is as he was up against Roy Hill. Ricky Smith with the quickest ET in pro stock drag racing history, a 7:17.
Take a look at the reaction of the crew as Ricky Smith turned that 7:17 to win the All-Pro Winter Nationals.
Well, Ricky Smith is going to be in the Hurst Shootout here in just a second against Tim Neighbors, and Brett had an opportunity to talk with Tim Neighbors, who certainly has his work cut out for him.
Well, this gives you a golden opportunity to make big waves in this particular class here at the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout, and this afternoon you're going to definitely have a run for your money.
Yeah, Ricky Smith's real tough. And if I had to say, he's probably the hardest one to beat out there, and if I beat him, things will be looking pretty good.
Well, you're only 0.03 of a second away from him in actual elapsed time, and a slight hole shot will be able to drive around that.
If I leave good and the car does fair, I've got a real good chance of beating him, but there's a lot of variables there, and it'll be hard to do.
Well, you would certainly think that Ricky Smith would be the favorite going into this round with Tim Neighbors, but who knows, anything can happen in drag racing. Smith is on the near lane, and Tim Neighbors on the far lane. Let's see what happens. Neighbors giving him a good run, but Smith edges him out just by a whisker.
Smith and horsepower time, the only way he edged him out was with a top speed. Let's take a look at the reaction times. Neighbors actually beat Ricky Smith off the starting line. That doesn't happen very often. Now, Smith reaches down for horsepower. The speed tells the story, and he pulls it out.
Good run, Tim.
You drove right around him, 7:39 again, so this car is consistently in the 7:30s, even though we're only talking about a few runs on a brand new car.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable in it right now. I feel a little better now we got that round over, so I get back on my lights maybe.
And Billy Ewing from Snellville, Georgia, second fastest qualifier, getting set to go against Jerry Haas from St. Louis, Missouri. And again, Haas has his work cut out for him. Here's Brett.
Jerry, your driving has improved tremendously this year, and your runner-up finish at the IHRA World Nationals has got to give you a big morale boost coming into this all-important event.
Well, it just takes a lot of hard work, and people like Doug Williams helping me with the car, and Todd Beavis, my crew guy, things like that. You know, it just takes a team effort to do this.
Who do you consider the biggest challenge coming into the shootout?
The biggest challenge for me is beating Billy Ewing first round.
And we are in quarterfinal action. Ewing on the left and Haas on the right. And Haas gets a good hole shot, but here comes Ewing, and Ewing beats him by about a nose.
Once again, that top mile an hour is what's paying off, Bob. it'll be, look at the reaction times as Ewing is off the line first, should be out ahead of Haas. At the very top end, you'll see Haas begin to pull, and that will tell the story. Here's Brett.
Well, Billy, you told us that this car's got the power. It ran 194.38 miles an hour, but the difference was an 0.08 of a second hole shot. Haas ran 738 and lost to your 741.
Oh, that's real good. I'm glad I got that hole shot. Definitely helped me.
It would have been a different story had you not had the hole shot.
That's true.
Well, the car, like you said, is running near record speeds, and you just beat the national speed record holder, so that'll put you in the semis with the Ewing brothers Camaro.
Yes, I definitely hope we win this Hurst Shootout this weekend.
Well, good luck to you, guy.
Okay, thank you.
We have now our pairings for the semifinals as we've completed quarterfinal round activity. And in the semifinals, the competitors are going to be Smith, Olson, Adams, and Billy Ewing. Well, what's involved in the driving of and the preparation of a pro stock? Here is Brett Kepner.
The Pro Stockers we'll be seeing today during the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout are some of the most exotic in all of motorsports. These machines, although they appear to be stock automobiles, are actually built from the ground up with one purpose and one purpose only: to make it down the quarter mile in as quick an elapsed time and at as fast a speed as possible. These machines are built completely out of chrome moly tubing. These machines also feature tubing railing throughout the interior, including, of course, the all-important protective roll cage. The roll cage in this particular machine, the Pontiac Trans Am of Gary Hajek Sr. and Jr., the Norton Automotive machine, uses a funny car-style roll cage that completely envelops the driver's body. Of course, the engine of these machines is unlike any other in any form of motorsports. This particular item, a 672 cubic inch Oldsmobile engine, uses the mandatory carburetors and gasoline to produce over 1,200 horsepower. The interiors in these machines are sparse yet beautiful. This particular machine, completely done in beautiful anodized aluminum, is functional, yet obviously one of the best appearing machines in drag racing. Inside, you'll find, of course, the steering wheel, the brake pedal, the clutch pedal, the throttle pedal, and, of course, the unique planetary transmission used in these machines, this one a 4-speed transmission. In the back of the machine, the fuel cell. It only holds 3 or 4 gallons of gas, but these machines can use 1 or 2 gallons per quarter-mile run, and, of course, the batteries used to start the machine. Everything on the car, as far as body panels are concerned, with the sole exception of the roof and rear quarter panels, is fiberglass or carbon fiber. Yet when everything is put back together, these machines can be some of the most beautiful and certainly some of the quickest and fastest machines imaginable. As this machine sits in front of us completely in pieces, the question is, how do you put it back together? Well, Gary Hajek, his father, and crewman Danny Phelps are going to show you how to put a Pro Stock back together.
And look at the speed and enthusiasm with which the crew puts the car back together. It takes no time. Here's another IHRA hit for 87. Bob Glidden recorded the fastest speed in pro stock drag racing history during the 87 season. What was the eye-opening speed? Was it 201, 197, or 199? We'll have the answer in just a moment. Hot rod hit for 87. Bob Glidden recorded the fastest speed in pro stock drag racing history during the 87 season. What was that speed?
Bob Glidden shocked the world of pro stock drag racing when he recorded a 199.11 miles per hour pass during the season opening All-Pro Internationals at Darlington International Dragway. And here you see Glidden making that historic pass. Look at the front end shake on that car. You can tell it was one fast run.
Now to the semifinals in our Hurst Pro Stock Shootout here at Bristol. Terry Adams from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, will be going up against Billy Ewing. Ewing with a 741, a 194 in the quarterfinals, whereas Terry Adams have a 746, a 191.89 in the quarters.
Well, you're talking reaction time on this race because the difference between a 741 and a 746 is almost nothing.
And we talked to Billy before the race.
Billy is the Chevrolet fans' favorite here this weekend. You're the closest to Ricky Smith, and after setting the track speed record at over 194 miles an hour yesterday, you're trying to run even faster.
Yes, I think today we'll pick up ET with that mile power. We had a little slippage on the starting line yesterday. We'll definitely pick up ET to go with the mile power.
Now, Billy Ewing and Terry Adams both in their cars. The green light goes on, and let's see what happens. Ewing, it looks like, has the advantage. Yeah, Billy Ewing wins it with a 743, a 194, 38 pass.
Billy Ewing, Barry pulls it out. Let's take a look at the beginning. Look at the reaction times. They're identical. 0.87's identical reaction times. You'll never see that again in drag racing. That is incredible. Brett Kepner talks with winner Billy Ewing.
I'll tell you, while both of you are here, you couldn't ask for a closer race. Identical reaction times. Both of you left the starting line 87 thousandths of a second after the green light, 7:43 to 7:47. Billy ends up winning.
Well, Terry standing here and everything. I'm glad I won, but it was a good race and I enjoyed it.
Oh, no, you wish you could be saying the same thing, but a tremendous job from the Williford car again.
Billy, he's a tough racer, and we knew we had to go, and so he's good. And if somebody had to run me, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. We were good friends.
Well, I'm glad to see you.
We just want to thank Hurst for putting this on and ESPN for being here to show us. That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to be the big Chevrolet representative in the final round. You got a lot of fans pulling for you. Good luck.
We thank you.
That's Billy Ewing, who becomes a finalist in the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. Ricky Smith is set to go in this semifinal round, and he, of course, is the reigning IHRA Pro Stock champion, 7:39 in that quarterfinal round. His opponent is going to be Bob Olson, who registered a 7:40, a 189.47 in the quarterfinal round. Well, Olson, can he defeat Ricky Smith?
Bob, 1 year ago, you were in the semifinals of this race. Back then, you were kind of a newcomer to the national event scene. Now that you've proved yourself, you've got to feel a little bit more confident a year later.
Yeah, we're a lot better prepared this time, and if we can get some of the luck, then I think we got a good chance of pulling this thing off.
Does the fact that your engine is, without a doubt, the biggest at this event have anything to do with the power this car is putting out?
Oh, it's putting out plenty of power. We've just been trying to work things out and get it down the track as best we can.
We have already proven to be the quickest and fastest pure Pontiac in the world, and the machine just doesn't give any signs of slowing down. The conditions are right here for some numbers.
Yeah, we've been working on the clutch and the chassis, and like I said, we've been running pretty good the last couple of races. All we need is a little luck.
Well, it's a bit of a David against Goliath here, Ted, in this semifinal round. Smith certainly the giant. Can Olson knock him off? Here we go. The green goes on. Smith is in the near lane, but look at Olson. He has the lead, and he wins it.
That's incredible, but remember, there was only 1/100th of a second between their ETs in the previous round. Ricky Smith upset, and look at the rejoicing going on in the Bob Olson, Gary Stewart crew. They do not believe it. Here they come off the line, and there's the story, Bob. Olson cutting a 0.66, beat Ricky Smith off the starting line, something you don't see happen very often. Brett Kepner talks to an elated Bob Olson.
Here earlier we're talking about the underdog of years gone by, but I'll tell you what, it took quite a pass to beat Ricky Smith.
How'd it run?
7:40 at 189, and you put a 2/100th of a second hole shot on it.
That's what we needed. We need the luck. Well, I hope it continues.
I don't know exactly why Ricky shut off. He slowed to like a 7:51, but 7:40 would have been right there with him even if he ran his best.
Oh, that's great. I think we may even have lane choice.
Well, I'll tell you, as a matter of fact, you do by 3/100ths of a second. But the Brubaker Grebner Pontiac is, like I said, you were starting to build a name for yourself over the last year. You can't ask for a better way than to be in the final of the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout.
I think we're ready.
So it'll be Pontiac against Camaro in the finals of the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. Bob Olson in the Pontiac will be going up against Billy Ewing in the Camaro. There's lots of action in both pit areas. Here's Brett in the Ewing pit.
Cramped inside the cockpit of the Ewing Brothers Pro Stock Camaro is Lamar Ewing, Billy Ewing's brother, the man who actually does most of the maintenance and mechanical work on this particular machine. Right now, there doesn't appear to be anything wrong with the car. However, Lamar is concerned that the clutch discs may be wearing, so he's opting to take the transmission completely out of the car and check the clutch discs before the all-important final round of the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. The car so far during the event, even in practice runs, has not suffered a single problem, running no less than 3 straight runs over 194.38 miles per hour. If nothing else, the final round is going to be a heck of a drag race if both Ewing and Bob Olson can contain their consistency.
Now an IHRA and ESPN Quick Fact. And Quick Facts are brought to you by New Quaker State with QSX. Keeps your engine cleaner to last longer.
The Pro Stock machines you're seeing in action today at the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout use some of the most sophisticated transmissions ever devised for any type of motorsports. They're called planetary transmissions. Each gear has its own gear shift lever. Now, the most unique thing about this transmission is that the clutch is only used, or the clutch pedal is only depressed, when either initiating reverse gear or leaving the starting line. This lever here initiates reverse gear when pulled all the way back. In the center, it initiates neutral gear, and forward, it's in first gear for the driver to use the clutch to leave the starting line. After that, the driver just keeps a careful eye on the tachometer and pulls second gear, third gear, and fourth gear at over 190 miles per hour. The clutch is not needed to shift. By the way, this little planetary transmission costs about $7,000.
The stage is set for the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout Finals. Olson against Ewing, and we'll be right back for it. So Ricky Smith has lost to the semifinals and is not happy.
I'll tell you, after this 1987, you couldn't ask for much more, but you've got the attitude it takes to continue to be a champion, I'll tell you that. We'll look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you a lot. We've got a lot of people that don't want to see us do good, and that just makes us work harder, so you can be ready next year. We're pretty fed up with all the talk in the pits, and I'm going to tell you right now, we're not laying down. We're coming out next year. If anybody can be any harder in any matter right now than I am, they got to be pretty mad. So you can look for a good year next year from us.
Well, Ricky Smith obviously not happy, but he'll be back to defend his 87 world title in IHRA. Billy Ewing is getting set to go in his Camaro, and there is his opponent, Bob Olson, who recorded a 189.47 in the semifinal defeat of Ricky Smith.
Remember, Bob Olson has been winning that reaction time battle.
Olson is in the near lane as the green light flashes on. Ewing in the far lane. It looks like Olson has got him at the line. It's Bob Olson winning $15,000 and the championship of the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout.
And look at Gary Roden and the crew go completely crazy right now. They can't believe it. This is the first major victory ever for Bob Olson. Let's take another look, and the reaction time told the story. Bob Olson consistent with a 0-7. It was over right there on the spot. Brett Kepner talks to Bob Olson about his big victory.
I'll tell you, you couldn't have asked for a tougher competitor. Billy Ewing gave it everything he could.
Oh, man, I tell you, this whole weekend's been tough. I mean, everybody has just run so fast, it's unbelievable.
It's very true, but I'll tell you, we may see a trend developing. With the biggest engine in competition, I wonder if now everybody's going to wonder if bigger isn't better.
Well, we think bigger's better. Maybe we should build a bigger one.
The Hurst Pro Stock Shootout is history. And Ted, it's always nice to see a first-time winner come on for a major win, and boy, Bob Olson did so.
Absolutely. Bob Olson, the spoiler, the man nobody thought could win. But remember, we told you at the very beginning of this show that it was anybody's drag race. That's the biggest victory in Bob Olson's career.
A great race all the way around. Now here's Brett Kepner, who worked the pit area, for his closing comments. Brett?
Once again, the Hurst division of the Mr. Gasca Corporation presented an incredible program here at the Shootout. Bob Olson pocketed $15,000 and proved that he's definitely one of the newest superstars in the Pro Stock class. His elapsed times and speeds indicated also that Pontiac Trans Am is making power like the best of them here in Pro Stock. Billy Ewing proved that he can still get a grip on the track conditions with his runner-up finish, and both drivers will definitely be ones to watch in the chase for the World Championship next year. Back to you, gentlemen.
And the Shootout has been brought to you by the Hurst Shifters, a division of Mr. Gasket Company and the Performance People, and by Drag Review, all you need to know about drag racing. And here's how to get your copy of the IHRA yearbook.
Feels like my battery's in need of a jump. Give me a spark to get the fire burning. Get my engine moving. These wheels are turning.
Congratulations to Bob Olson, winner of the Hurst Pro Stock Shootout. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.